We wanted to welcome you to the P.O.V. Point of View. This is a podcast, a collective. The P.O.V. is a collective where we wanted to create a platform where we're able to share our point of view on different subject matters in the community as we face as Black individuals. So today, our first subject matter is about the father wound. So the father wound, just to give a brief definition, is any situation you grew up in with an absent father, whether it's emotional, mental, physical, any aspect of your father where he's absent in your life, and it created a foundation of dysfunction for you that follows you through your life. Okay, so what I wanted to do is get everybody an opportunity to share their point of view on their personal experience with the father wound. So who would like to go first in the discussion?
Well, I guess I can mention that, well, I am the third of 6 children. I grew up in a 2-parent home. My father was a pastor. My father is currently a pastor. My mother primarily was a stay-at-home mom. So my father was in the household. I always kind of refer to my upbringing as like the Cosby Show. You know, I think I had a wonderful childhood. You know, it was 3 boys, 3 girls. So that's a little bit of my background with that.
My background, single parent. Mother and father got divorced when I was 5. We moved from Alabama to Cleveland. My mother worked multiple jobs. She worked for the city, TRW, liquor stores, Sears and Roebuck, all types of jobs to make ends meet. The beauty of my upbringing was, even though I had an absent father, I had a grandfather who took up the slack. But at that time, I didn't realize how important he was to me and in becoming a man. Some of the things he had told me, but I didn't think, I wasn't really listening because he wasn't my father. So the whole father wound, it hits me a little differently because I wanted a father, but I didn't think I necessarily needed a father. So I just created who I am as a man. So I created John Taylor, and I took from different men who my mom brought around us, and it was only 3 of them, from 1969 to 1982. There was 3 men, and each man I took a little bit from. Confidence from Mr. Wheeler, how to dress from Mr. Artist, and how to treat women from Mr. Simmons. I saw how he would open the doors for my mother and pull the chairs out. And from that, I just created who I am.
So my background, I was brought up by a single mother. She was divorced. She was married to me and my the brother that's right up under me. They were married for a few years, but I don't remember really any of. I don't have any memories of my father growing up in a household. But it's me. Like I said, I'm the oldest. I have a brother that's right up under me, and then there's a 13-year gap between my sister, and an 18-year gap between me and my baby brother. And my mom was, you know, a single mother, where in the respect that, you know, she didn't have a consistent husband in the home. It was a lot of inconsistencies with the men that she dated, but she had a lot of support from my grandfather. And so, you know, where she was struggling in the certain gaps, he would fill in financially. And just, you know, the inconsistencies of growing up, seeing my mother struggle. She has masters, she has her bachelor's. But she was able to do that a lot too because of my grandfather, but also because of me watching my younger siblings. I had to sacrifice. So my father wound comes more so from the aspect of me having to fill in where a man probably could have took a lot of the slack from me. But so the next thing, so that's just my background. So what I wanted to ask is, when it comes to the father wound, why is it so detrimental to individuals in society today when you have an absent father, whether he was absent physically, whether he was absent, he could have been in a household but wasn't there mentally, emotionally. Does anybody have any of those, want to share any of their experiences in that way and how it affects you today, whether it's you dealing with the opposite sex or you dealing with, like Mr. Taylor, he's a mentor. Do you see a lot of where, that individual doesn't have their dating in life, I can tell. Just want to share some of your experiences.
Even though I said I grew up in a two-parent, home, my father was a pastor, my parents were together since they were maybe like 17, and where I think my father may have lacked, or my parents really, but since we're talking about the father wound, I think with my dad, he never talked to me about men. He never talked to me about dating. He never talked to me about relationships. Nothing. And, speaking of this the other day, somebody kind of put a thought to my head, well, they had each other. My parents had each other at such a young age. I don't know, for whatever reason, they didn't feel the need or felt it was necessary or even had a thought to say, well, let me teach my kids about this because maybe because they had love amongst each other. But for me, growing and going out into the world, I just felt I was so naive. I just thought everybody was supposed to be like my parents. And that was not the case. And I had to learn the hard way, unfortunately. But I think that it kind of molded me and shaped me to help other women, other young men, my children, so they won't go astray and make better decisions from what I made.
What I've seen and in my life is structure. It's so important. Lack of structure equals chaos, equals destruction, equals disrespect, equals I don't know. And a lot of us brothers, we just don't know how to treat women. We truly don't know. We didn't have the nuclear family, the father that was supposed to be there and tell you, son, take you on a fishing trip and tell you about the birds and the bees. I remember asking my mother when I was in the third or fourth grade, because I heard it on TV, Mom, what's the birds and the bees? She said, ask your father. Father living in Detroit. I called him. There was no caller ID back then. I called him and the phone would ring and ring and ring. And I said, Mom, what's the birds and the bees? Didn't you call your father? I did, he didn't answer. I was never taught the so-called birds and bees. I don't know. I learned from the neighborhood friends, the kids in the neighborhood, the older teenagers. And it was all wrong. Mm-hmm. It was all wrong. Right? Kids teaching kids, right? So without that male lion, in the household, I mean, it can be done. It has been done. I give props to my mom, but I also give props to my grandfather, deacons, some of the teenagers. I mean, I grew up on 100 and Quincy. In my neighborhood back when Cedar was full of pimps and hustlers. We thought that this one pimp, Cadillac, was one of the greatest guys in our neighborhood because he would string up the hoop. And we thought it must have been a whole lot of money for that net because nobody else would do it but him. And he would drive his Eldorado and get on the hood and string it up and take that first shot. And we just thought he was the greatest, but he was a pimp. You know what I'm saying? No structure, right? So again, structure is so important. It's so important that our young men see positive male influences. I tell the moms at the schools, it's okay. It's okay. Your son will succeed in spite of the situation, but you have to make sure he and she is surrounded by positive male leadership. If you got that, you'll be all right. You may get a John Taylor. You may get a John Taylor.
And I'll just piggyback off of John, where he's saying the father gives structure. I honestly believe that the father is the authority. He's the covering over the home. And that's really one of the main reasons that these homes and the children, and just not just the children and the youth now, even myself, and the children, the individuals in my generation, without having that protection, that covering, that authority in the household, that man giving the identity to his children, to his legacy, we are lost. We are a lost generation. Wow. I was born in 82. That is definitely in the midst of the crack epidemic, the heroin. A lot of the children or a lot of my peers had parents that were in jail because of drugs, that have died because of heroin addictions and things. So that's leaving the home. The fathers are leaving the homes, and then the moms are not even in the homes because they're making up for the slack. They working 2 or 3 jobs. They trying to get their degrees, and so we raising ourselves. Like you said, the blind leading the blind, kids teaching kids. That's how we learned in my generation. Coming home, we had to bring ourselves in the house. We couldn't go outside because our parents was at home working. So therefore, we on video games, we talking on the phone, we inviting the boys over and sneaking and things like that. So because the father wasn't in the home, like you said, it lacks structure, it lacks identity. I'm trying to find my identity through this little boy. I'm trying to find my identity through the videos that I'm watching. I used to love videos. I used to say and record video every time I seen the title come on. That's my video. Let me record it. Get the remote and start recording it. So we raised ourselves, and then we raised ourselves on video games, television shows, and making what we used to eat all the time, the hot Cheetos, ramen noodles, and warming up, pizza rolls and things like that. Wow. And that's really what I see with the father wound. For myself personally, my point of view is that I struggle a lot with identity. I struggle with the fact of what does it look like for a man? What does it look like to find a good husband? What does it look like when you come across a good man? What does it look like for a man to treat you a certain type of way? If you don't have a consistent man in your life, a father or father figure consistently in your life that's actually trying to connect with you emotionally, showing you the right way, then you are being led away, and then you're forced to find it outside, forced to find it in that man, that boy you think is cute. So and then my father, one thing that I always say, my perspective with my father is, and what I see in the men that I date, is I'm always chasing. I'm always waiting for them. My father lives in Alabama, and so especially back in the 80s and the 90s, he didn't have a landline for a long time because he lived in a trailer. I would always have to call my grandma and say, hey, grandma, when you see my dad, can you tell him to call me? That's how my relationships with men are. I'm always chasing after them, waiting for them to decide when they want to be bothered with me. And so I see it a lot, and even if it's not a good feeling, is familiar, and I still have the aspect of feeling like if I just show him that I'm here, if he can see my value, I won't have to chase him anymore. Once he sees my value, and once he knows how good of a person I am, a good of a woman I am, I will no longer have to chase him. But when you start a relationship like that, it's a good chance it's just going to continue like that until you find something within yourself to say, hey, no, I'm not going to allow this. When you set the foundation like that, that's usually how the foundation is going to continue to be, unfortunately. So that's just my point of view when it comes to the father wound, and why I feel like it's very important for a man to be in, growing up in a single mom household. I ain't gonna say a lot of different men, but I seen a few different men come through. Some of them I liked, some of them I didn't like. Some of them were good, some of them were, just the fact that it was a man around. When you naturally in your feminine energy, you appreciate the masculine energy. Whether he, is a good person or not, he might just be, you feel protected that he's there. You feel safe that he's there. He's cool. He's nice. He's giving you the attention that you might not be getting from your mother or your father. Just that little bit of the attention that you crave as a female, you're happy to get it, so.
Well, I have a question for both of you. Hearing what you have gone through now as a grown woman, what are you looking for in a man? What would be the perfect scenario for both of you?
How much time we got?
How much time we got? Right.
Long list.
But in a nutshell, just from my own life experiences, number one, he gotta be a follower of God. That's number one for me.
Okay.
And I kind of want somebody to match me in certain areas, like somebody that's loving, caring, somebody who could take care of themselves, somebody who is respectful, honest, transparent. I want to see somebody in every light, mad, happy, struggling, sad. That's important because you need to see how they're gonna respond. Their family, their background. Some things that I learned in therapy where it's like 5 key factors, and I hope I don't forget them, but it was basically, can he take care of himself? Does he want to take care of you? What's his family like? Are you all on the same page? Are you like equally yoked? Do you have similar goals? And I think I'm forgetting one, but it might come to me. But it's just like some basic foundational things, nothing hard, but that's important to me.
Okay.
So for me, what I'm looking for is somebody to want me just as much as I want them. I want somebody that's not going to give up on me. I want somebody that I can share my life with, that we can help unpack each other's luggage. I know that everybody comes with their own, hurts, their own, dysfunctions. Not to say that I'm looking for somebody that's broken, but I'm even open to the process, to somebody who is working on being a better person, that is working on their healing, that is understands that as a man, he might have to be that father to his girlfriend, his wife, his son, his stepson. Like the way that the world is today, you do have a lot of people that are missing things and are starting to realize their dysfunctions and realizing their hurts and trying to do better. For so long you had a generation that swept it under the table. Don't talk about that, push it in the closet. We don't discuss stuff like that. But we are the generation that's like, nah, I can't continue to trip over that junk. I can't continue to act like that don't exist. I have to address it. And if me healing means me disrupting that mess and being a whole mess myself, so be it, just so that I can be a better person, so that I can even heal for the next generation, so let it be. And if we have to heal together, I'm okay with that. But I just want to know that the person that I'm with wants to be there just as much as I want to be there with them. But when it comes to a man in general, I definitely want a man that, even if he don't know how to fix a tire, even if he don't know how to fix a leak in the bathroom, he is going to learn. He gonna get on YouTube. He gonna get his uncle. He gonna get somebody effort to do it, and he wants to be. I also want a man that wants to protect me, that wants to that wants me to be okay. If I'm sad, I want him to come give me a hug. If I got an attitude, I want him to rub me on my booty and say it's gonna be okay. I guess I want an emotionally available man. But a lot of men, I don't know. I can't say a lot of men aren't emotionally available. I think that I have to be emotionally available in order for them to be emotionally available. And I've learned that about myself, that I'm not the most emotionally available person. So that's me going through my healing. But now that I have that awareness, I can now work on that. And then I can know I have the awareness to say, okay, you need to be a little bit more connected in order for him to be connected. So I'm growing, I'm learning, and I want to be better. So I just want a man that wants to be better as well.
That's great. Wow.
So,
okay, you
you
want
want some too, to go back, in the household, because, you know, we all have our story, but it's similarities. You know, I had both my parents in the home, and I think one big factor for my life and my experience was the church. So just like, you know, we like kind of the blind leading the blind, being influenced from our peers and TV and music, the church was a big influence too, because just like with sex or something, it's almost like you better not do it, you're gonna go to hell. And that's it. You don't learn about the soul ties, you don't learn about the pain, the suffering, the diseases, the pregnancies. It's just like, don't do it. That's it. Just don't do it. And then, you know, curiosity killed the cat.
Yeah, okay.
So, you know, you learn. Unfortunately, you know, the turnout is not always the greatest. You learn the hard way. So, that was a big thing for me, just the whole church life aspect for me. You know, you think like, oh, church, you know, pastor kids, and this is It's not always like that, even though we do have that, you know, the foundation of X, Y, and Z, but it's like so much stuff I've realized have to be unlearned with the church. So that's my 2 cents on that.
So neither one of you were able to learn critical thinking. That's what I'm getting.
Okay.
Right? Independent thinking. A lot of times our sisters, and again, that's why I mentor. Who's going to take my niece to the prom? And I always ask that. Who's going to take my niece to the prom? And I'm looking at her options, and it's rough. It's rough. So again, as a brother, I apologize for mankind. All right, I apologize for mankind because we just didn't step up. You know, and it was my generation. You say you were born in '82. I graduated from high school. I entered the military in '82, and I'm thinking that 18-year-old little knucklehead from 100 and Quincy didn't know nothing. I thought I did. You know, but I'm just thinking about, you know, the young men, you know, the opportunities that presented themselves. I could have been a father at 18 many times. And I'm thinking, what would I have been able to offer my son? So, the circle would continue. Thank God that it didn't. When I had my son, I was 37 years old. So I knew what I knew, and I knew what I didn't want. I knew which road I wanted my son to go down. You know, so it goes back to the structure. And again, we will discuss that on the when we try to resolve our issues.
What do we? Okay, so with everybody sharing their point of view, what steps can you personally take to be the solution to the father wound? And then we'll also talk about what we can do collectively. So first individually, and then what collectively can we do to be the solution to the effects of the father wound?
Well, I can jump off first. If my father was still living, I would, have a conversation with him. Hey, Dad, I know you were the father that you were because your mother left your father. She moved from Birmingham. He was 16. He joined the Army at 17. He was the oldest. He was diagnosed schizophrenic. Yeah, we found that out in the 80s. He was abusive to my mother. That's why my mother has that scar on the left side of her face. And she hid it from me and us up until I was 15. She always said she fell off a motorcycle.
Wow.
Right? So, and again, I'm looking at my mom like, why didn't you just tell us, you know? And so now, sometimes it go back to divine intervention. The Lord kept my father away because I could have easily gone that route if I seen him, if I saw my father beat my mom, you know, like my son, the way he is how I am. You know, I don't have to say much. Just do what I do. You know, just do what I do, right? So I would say, Dad, I understand. Just like I try to ask women, understand me. You just gotta understand me. I'm a good guy, but you got to understand me, right? I'm self-made, you know. I'm a leader. I'm an alpha dog, you know, and it's not pushy. I'm not, you know, controlling. It's just, that's what leadership truly looks like. And if you don't know, if you ain't been around it, if you ain't been around true leadership and a true man, just a man.
That's right.
I'm just a man. You're not a weak man, not an abusive man, not a man who's just gonna take control. No, I'm just a man. I'm gonna fix your tire. Here, take the keys. I'll send Mr. Finley. Mr. Finley will pick up the car. See what I'm saying? That's what we do.
Yeah.
I'll take the garbage out. Matter of fact, I might wrench the garbage can out. Right? You know, just a man, that's all. And again, I apologize. I would apologize to all the sisters, all the brothers that, you know, I saw and didn't help. I saw how bad he was in church. I saw it. I'm like, if you don't get control, I could have done that. Hey man, you need to respect. I did. You know, I wasn't there yet. You know, I wasn't there yet. So I would apologize again, like I say, for mankind, because we don't know. Now that I know, that's why this mentoring is so important.
Absolutely.
Because I can give you I can give your daughters, our nieces, you know, those young men that you would be proud, you know, to walk through that threshold with, you know? So, yeah, I think the apology, just spreading the love.
Yeah.
These young brothers don't know what love is. The sisters don't know what love is.
Yeah.
You two could be daddy's girls, but if daddy's not there, you'll never know.
That's right.
And I always say, you know, when we go into the schools, you've seen it. Those baby girls will come up, running up to us and want to hug us, and I'm like, you can't do that. I'm not, you know, I'm not your father. You can't do it. And it hurts me to say that. But you know that would be a daddy's girl, you know? And it is crushing. So while we have them, when we get this opportunity, this is a great format.
It is.
To put it out there.
It is.
Because this topic, I didn't realize, and I'm getting a little bit emotional because I think of my mom all those years trying to keep my father's legacy, right? Trying to keep it where your father, we're not together, but your father did some bad things, and and then he had a child also, same age as me. I found that out years later. You see? So she kept all that, all those years, you know. So nobody should have to go through that, no one. So, yeah, it goes back to, I would apologize to my dad for saying that, hey, he was a deadbeat, you know, he wasn't in his right mind, so, you know, I give him that. You know, he was in the Korean War also. My grandmother said he wasn't the same when he came back, So that's it, you know, that's why right now, you know, when we get good men, the women, you have to realize what's in front of you. You know, he may not be a Denzel in the face, he may not be Arnold Schwarzenegger in the body, but the mental and how he treats you, there it is, you know. Sometimes we have to understand, it's a push and it's a pull, it's a give and it's a take, right? So wow.
I wanted to piggyback on what you said too about, like you said, you seen the little boy in the church acting up, you know, and even the last time when we had talked, when we were talking about the little girl and, you know, she was taking her shirt off and you told her to stop, she said, well, no, I'm not, ain't nobody looking at, you know, that's the resistance and the, with the generation, the resistance, because they don't have their fathers in their home, there's a lot of resistance when you have somebody trying to correct behavior. And it's because of the lack of the fathers in the home that you have a lot of resistance and a lot of pushback, a lot of talking back, because I'm like that, you know, and that's something that I had to come to terms with myself, that I do have some rebellion. I definitely have rebellion because I didn't have a consistent father figure in the home, but I also have a rebellion because I watched my mom be an independent woman. So I have a lot of masculine energy. But my natural nature is not that at all. Okay. But this is a survival mode. Yeah. So what I would do in my solution, my answer is to be aware of that. And when I in the presence of a man that wants to step up and be a man, when I'm in the presence of a respectful man, I will respect his masculine energy and I will operate in a less resistant manner.
Reel yours in.
Because the honest to God truth is that I can be, right. You know, but there's also part of me and my personality that, because I still chase, I still want to be heard. I still want to be seen. So then there might be that, oh, you getting resistance from me. It's not because I'm trying to challenge you, but it's because I want you to see me. You know, so for me, it's just continue to do my work on myself, realizing my flaws. And once I realize my flaws, I understand why that flaw is there. Because a lot of times your flaws is there not because that's just who you are, but it's a protection too. You know, it's a defense mechanism. You know, I'm not talking back because I just want to show you how smart I am. I'm talking back because I'm standing up to myself and I want to be heard, because that little girl in me was always told to shut up. Don't nobody care about what you got to say. So it's not always because, you know, I'm trying to disrespect you and show you that, you know, no, what you would have to say is not important. It's because I want you to know what I have to say is important, because the little girl, she wants you to see me. But that's what I do, my part. It's just doing the work, you know, having the awareness and addressing it, and then also showing my son that I want to be the best, that I'm going to be the best person I can be. You know, just tearing down peeling back those layers, doing the work, and showing him that, you know, I want to be a better person, a better mother.
Right. You know, pulling from both the, you know, your stories with you when you said, like, what you saw, or, you know, even when the things that were kept from you, and then with you about the chasing. I think for me, it's like almost, it's similar, but it's different too, because I felt like I don't have enough masculine energy, because I saw my mom and my dad, and my mother was like, and I'm just like my mom, and I used to be mad at that, but then, cause she was like submissive to my dad, and she kind of like, that my father, you know, we knew that he was the leader of the house, you know, but my mother was taking care of business in the background, you know, and I feel like that's how I always been, just trying to take care of everything, making sure he all right, making sure he good. And just like how you said, I always felt like I was kind of chasing to a degree, just to make sure everything was good. I don't know if that's like smothering or controlling or whatever it is, but it's like, I think I'm doing good because this my mother did, you know. Right. But it's like, in this world, no, you damned if you do, you damned if you don't. Yeah. You know, like, oh no, you can't be too nice. You gotta have a stank attitude. That's what they like. But it's like, that's not who I am. So it's like, now I gotta become something I'm not just to keep a man. You can't be kind. You can't be nice. Then you get pushed over. So it's like, what do I do? You know, I don't know what to do. But for me, just going through my journey, it's like, it's the spiritual part, then it's the mental part, then it's the emotional part, then it's the physical part, because they all go together to me. Because if spiritually, for me, that's number one. Because I feel like, you know, God's in control at the end of the day. Right. So if you ain't right up there with him, that's where you need to start. Because then your mental, you know, because when you all emotional and crying and depressed, it start up here. So I feel like your mental needs to be right. And for me, I think it's self-reflection, figuring out prayer, being obedient to God. And then for me, it's like, because I've been through so much, you know, because I was in a violent, abusive relationship with an alcoholic. And so much trauma, just really get into the root of everything that has happened in your life, your childhood, your adulthood, choices that you made, things you could have done differently, and going through all of that. I just think for me, the self-reflection, getting to the root, prayer life, and then just using that to help the next. For me, because the relationship part, that's in God's hand. that's in God's hand.
You know what I'm hearing also is there's a thin line between submission, right, and just dealing, right? You're dealing with it like you said. Your mom was submissive. The Bible says what?
Submit to your
There it is.
But it said submit one to each other too.
Right, but we think that my word is that's it, and that's one of the issues that I've always had. I always say, I know what's right. You know what I'm saying? I know what's right. Follow my leadership, and if it falters, then I can see you going off doing your thing. But I know what's right. I know how to do this. I truly know how to lead. I know how to be in a relationship. All that other stuff, the romance, the taking care of, that's easy. That's easy. I just need you to understand that I'm the man. I'm the man. I don't want you to be me, and I sure can't be you. Right? So when you said it would hit me, it hit me. When you said the male energy, and I'm like, oh, that's why a lot of women act the way they do. And when you're a man, you're like, hold on now.
Right.
Hold on now. I got this now. You don't have to, come on now. And so that's what I get. I get a lot of that. All right, come on now, man. All right, baby. You don't have to be me.
Right.
Okay, and again, I apologize for mankind, but you don't have to be me around me.
Right, around you.
You don't have to be me around me.
Good one, well
Maybe
said.
some other guy that didn't step up, but when you're around true leadership and someone who knows how to be a man and truly cares and understands, then all that you bossing and you trying to be, that male. So that's what a lot of us feel, and we just don't want to tolerate it.
Right.
And I'm out. I'm pushing back.
Right.
Yeah,
That's right.
I'm pushing back on the table.
Yeah.
So what we need to do is find that common ground.
That balance.
Right? Because you had to, take care of your babies. You had to do what you had to do.
You had to do it.
You got to raise those kids.
Right.
You were the disciplinarian and all that. Now I come into the fold, and it's like, I wouldn't let my son would do that. Why is he talking back to you? See, when you get that kind of energy, and now you're like, well, who are you to tell me about? I'm here to help you raise that young man. I'm not trying to take your place. I'm just being a man, and that's a cub. I'm a lion.
Yeah, there you go.
You see what I'm saying? I'm a lion, so I can't let you. No. Here's an example. Young man came in last week. He had a headband on. I said, take the headband off. No, Mr. Taylor. I said, I'm only going to tell you once. Took it all. See, my aunt told me the headband holds my baby hair down.
What?
You ain't hear me.
Baby hair.
Y'all didn't hear me. Y'all didn't hear
No,
me.
the baby hair. So
He
you
said,
worried about
hold
his
my baby hair. No, he said his aunt said that.
Yeah.
This is a young man amongst other men, and I said, don't you
This
ever
is
let
the
me hear
issue.
you say
See,
that.
this
You
is
see
the
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There was no art feeling, there was no.
That's right.
Walker
That's what you got to deal
around.
with.
Yeah.
There was nobody around to say, baby, hair, you better
Exactly.
take that off your.
Right.
But you see the importance, right? So yeah, that's
Yeah.
happy. That's happy.
That's a good example.
Do we have any closing remarks?
What time?
40 minutes.
4 minutes, 5.
Wow, that was quick.
Okay.
All right, so what have we learned today?
Okay, yeah, that'd be a
What have we
good
learned? What have we
takeaway.
learned? With me personally, I've taken from this episode is that men, brothers, the real brothers, listen to what these young ladies have said, right? use it, apply it to your life. Masculine energy, only because there was nobody
No real
masculine
men.
around.
Exactly.
Do you understand?
right.
Submissive, willing to take whatever, even abuse, because of what she saw her mom deal with.
Yeah.
So you gotta understand that. If you understand them, and like I tell you all the time, all the women I've ever dated, all y'all, I told you, you got to understand me, just like we need to understand these ladies.
Absolutely.
And
That's right.
it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Right.
that is, that's
Got to
what
understand.
it's about
Absolutely.
Yeah,
That's
I
what
know
it's
her
about,
situation,
yeah.
so I'm coming in, I'm like, I'm gonna be less, I know her situation, I'm not gonna trip when she,
Right.
you know, it's a little bit, you know, strong, a little bit, hold on, baby, now I understand. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's good,
Yeah,
that's good.
yeah.
And it's important.
And
that-
communication.
Yeah,
Vital.
communication, and the way that you build that trust is through the
That's right.
communication. It's like, if I can trust that you not trying to control me,
Mhm.
that you only are operating your masculine energy, but when I need you to listen to me, if I can trust that you're gonna listen to me and be there,
Mhm.
I can be submissive. I want to be in my feminine
Mhm.
energy in your presence at all times.
That's right.
You know, but I need to be able, because of what I saw growing up and the inconsistencies, I don't even know if I can't trust that you're going to be consistent. So why should I submit to you in that way, even when I know that I can? So it's about the communication and building the trust within our community, within men and women in our community.
Is that more of perfection though? Because a lot of times we wanna do right, but
Mhm.
we may not.
What you mean?
So is it perfection that you're looking for?
Perfection in.
Period, because you said that you wasn't sure, you know, about consistency. Sometimes you just can't. You know what I'm saying? What
I
if-
mean,
there's
you know
flaws
what,
in all
though?
of us.
Yeah.
There's flaws in all of us. right?
Because we gotta have consistency in communication. It can't be, you know, 1 week we doing good, the next 2 weeks we not communicating right. As long as we're consistent in trying to be consistent in the communication, it don't have to be perfect.
Okay.
Nothing is perfect.
Okay.
I don't even want nobody that's perfect, but they gotta be perfect for
That's
me.
right.
Oh,
That's
You
right.
know, they gotta be perfect for me, but they ain't gotta be perfect. Like I said, he can come with his healing, and we gonna heal together. We gonna build this together if we have to. So
That's pretty cool.
yeah,
That's pretty cool.
share anything, closing.
I mean, it's so much to talk about,
Yeah,
so
it
much,
really
you know,
is.
and you know, I just want to be clear, you know, when I talk about my parents, my mother, she was submissive, but and my father was always man in the house though, like he wasn't like a slouch or nothing like that, but
What did that look like though? Because when you say that, what does that look like? Because see, I
he
didn't
was the
grow up with a
leader.
father.
He
now.
was the leader of the house. And,
So
you
he
know,
was
a lot
leading?
of the time, like, it was like, my mother, you know, it wasn't like whatever he say go, it wasn't like that,
Mhm.
but it was just like, he was the leader of the house. My mother followed his lead, you know, and, you know, as we, you know, become adults, you know, she make her little comments like, look, he did this, you know, but I kept that from y'all, you know.
Mhm.
So no, he wasn't perfect either, but it was key to my development,
Yeah.
good and bad,
Yeah.
good ways and bad ways. So I think that my closing remarks would just be, you know, I think this episode and just ongoing, hopefully that we will learn a lot from each other, unlearn a lot,
Yeah.
and I hope, you know, we get you know, viewers that we can help them,
Yeah.
set them on the right course, through our experiences.
Yeah, I've learned so much today.
Yes,
I'm
yes,
quite sure you all
yes,
have too.
absolutely.
I also think
It's
that
good
maybe
The
comment.
masculine energy, that piece.
Mhm.
A lot of us, that's enough. I think we might have to go part 2 on that.
Okay.
That's
That
right.
masculine energy.
We can do a part 2. I
Because what
also
does
wanted
it
to-
really look like?
Yeah, what
What does that look
Yeah.
like?
What does that look
You
like?
know,
Okay.
Is it
We
you
can-
bossing me, telling me I can't go shoot pool with my friends? Is that masculinity
Okay.
that you're talking about, or you order the pizza, or you make the vacation reservations? Hold on, I can do that. You say we going over your mother's house for Christmas dinner. What about mine?
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you know, is that where you take over type of, is that what that looks like?
So for me, when I say I operate in my masculine energy, I'm more so, if it needs to be done, I'm going to get it done, whether you gonna step it to do it or not. And
Okay.
I throughout, especially throughout my adulthood, from a lot of the men that I interact with, that I've dated, friends, they used to say I was too independent for them. Like I literally had got that. You were too independent. You can't be my girl. You too independent. You too, and it was more so. I didn't understand at the time. I didn't understand what that meant. To be honest with you, I was like, well, he must be too weak.
Right.
And I don't know exactly.
Right.
Raised like that.
Yeah.
He was raised like that.
Yeah. So, but I guess with him making that remark, I didn't really understand why he would. Instead of you saying that, why don't you step up a little bit more so that I don't feel like I have to be
That's
in
right.
that independence.
That's
But
right. Step up to his role.
Yeah.
Right.
So you could take it either way. You could take it as me being too hyped, too in my masculine energy, or him not knowing how to handle my independence. Like, if you're an alpha male, would you be intimidated by a woman that's independent? I don't think so, because you know who you are as a man.
That's right.
So it's no way that it's no. Now we can say where it's the issue where we're clashing. That's something totally different. Me and my independence is clashing with you trying. I'm not allowing you to be in your position when you know what your position is. There's a clash, then that's a conflict. But my independence should not in any way offend or make your masculinity or who you are as a man insecure. I mean, maybe I can, but maybe it can, but I don't know. That's we're gonna do a part.
Part two is needed.
I can see the alpha female clashing with the alpha male. That alpha female is gonna have to
submit.
Somebody's got to submit.
We don't want her to arrest her development.
Right.
We just want her
Compromise.
to
Enhance, compromise. That's right. Have that balance.
There's only one male here. We do understand.
Right.
That was always the issue.
Right.
I would always tell ladies, look, I'm a man, you're a woman. And
Now,
I'm not saying you less than, but it's what you are.
Now, the women that you had conflicts with them, how was their upbringing? Was some of them that stick out to you?
God.
Can you remember all of them? Even know that?
That's all good.
Some had daddies,
Okay.
some had, most of them didn't. Most of them didn't. But it was always that, just me being me. And that was the crazy part. I'm just being me, y'all.
Yeah.
I'm just being me. I cannot let your son, here's a prime example. His sister worked at Key Bank, the bank executive and all of this, right? Money, 6 figures, all that. So she was raising her 2 children. I saw things that her son was doing, and I'm like, you need to stop that whining. You need to stop that now. And she was like, oh, he's just a little baby. He's a little kid. No, I'm telling you, that little kid's gonna grow up. He's gonna be a big kid, and ain't no woman gonna want him. I'm telling you, you're creating something right now, right? I said, I'm in the business to create men.
Yes.
That's what I'm in. I'm in the business to create men. There's one movie I saw, the lady says, we're in the business of putting grown heads on young babies' bodies. Grown heads on young babies' bodies. And I said, wow, okay. We gotta grow these babies. We gotta get them right here. The body's gonna grow.
Right.
Yes.
But
Yes.
this, if you don't get
That mental
early,
gotta grow with it.
yeah, and something as simple as whining and you let him huff at you like that. You let him do. I'm telling you, he's gonna be no good to a sister who's got it together.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, let's give our baby girls something that they can walk through that threshold.
Right.
Can I? Because I feel like I've had that experience before. Like you said, like you got the kind of no, that's my baby, he all right. It's more so like I feel like, and it's in my experience with that, because I had a guy tell me my son was whiny,
Mm.
and I said the same thing,
Mhm.
like, you know, he okay, but me as a nurturing mommy,
Mhm.
it's okay. In my perspective, it's okay for my son to be, I don't want to be the authoritator of him saying, no, you gotta, you know, because then I feel like then I'm not able to show him what a feminine or a soft mother can be or nurturing mother can be. So that there we go again, why it's important to have that balance.
Mhm.
I want to be the nurturing mommy and be in my feminine energy. His father can be the one, hey, toughen up. You don't need to be doing all that whining. But he can come to mommy and get hugs and kisses and cry in my lap, you know,
Right.
because that's what
Right.
that's what I want. That's what I
Yeah.
want to be. That's what I want him to do. But when it comes to him and his dad, hey, you can't be doing all that crying and that whining. I need you to be, you know, when the time comes, you need to be able to contain your emotions. That's the balance that children need. That's the identity that they're missing in the household when their fathers aren't there. You know, so I don't know. That was just
But
Okay.
with something like that,
Mhm.
you know, if y'all need to be on the same page.
yeah,
Because if I'm saying cut the whining out,
True.
I've seen it.
yeah.
I've seen where
That's
that
true.
whining, you know, we got young men slamming the doors when
Yeah.
they leave the classroom.
Right.
I said, watch,
Mhm.
he gonna slam that door. I said, look, fellas, Mike's girlfriends, every last one of them, when they get mad at me, they gonna slam the door. Watch him slam the door. Boom! I say, you see, because he's been around.
Yep.
Yeah.
the
And again, and it's
environment,
not
the
to put my
environment.
sisters down, but that's what they're picking up.
Yeah,
That's what they pick. They don't see it. They don't see what a true man looks like.
right. We just
A
right.
lot of them can't
I
handle
said,
it.
Right.
the conditioning.
Yeah.
And, you know, my children's father, has always been absent. He's in jail. He's in jail right now. And that's why I thank God my father, their granddad, is there every day.
Wow.
Getting on my nerves, but it's okay.
Okay.
But no, he's there every day. He talks to
Good.
me, picks me up from school. He is the positive
Good.
male role model
So you can
for
take-
my children,
Mhm.
especially my son, because my son is 100% boy,
Mhm.
just 100%. And you know, I have
Now,
to
when you say that, boy or thug?
boy, football,
Oh,
basketball, in the
Okay.
grass, ripped up jeans,
Okay.
like he just 100%
Okay.
boy. And it's like, to me, I have to kind of do both of them. My father don't live with us, so when my father is not there, it's just me. And then you, like we said, we want to unlearn so much. Yes, I want him to see the love and the hugs and the nurturing, and you know, it's okay, because you know, he's my baby, he's the youngest. It was hard.
Mhm.
But when I have to discipline him, I have to discipline him, you know, and I might go into my room and cry, but he can't see me, but I have to. Or even like, you know, they say, you don't be crying, you this, you that. I don't like doing that because I think that's the problem with a lot of the guys now.
Yeah.
Like, you need to be a little soft, a little tender.
Or
You know,
be
it's
able to express
okay
your
to
emotions,
cry. It's okay
right.
to be expressive.
Mhm.
So I don't say, you better stop crying, you know, but
Yeah.
I do, I am aware of babying him.
Yeah.
I don't
It's
want
a
him to be,
difference.
because I don't want him to be like the men that I have dealt with in the
Yeah.
world. I don't. I really, really don't.
Wow.
Do you see that as a difference though? Where, you know, like, because I agree. I feel like that's when we talking about emotional intelligence, a lot of men don't have emotional intelligence because they haven't even been able to accept that emotions even exist or their emotions are valid. So there's a lot of them that can't even fathom what emotional intelligence is. So when we try to teach our sons, even our daughters, but our sons, we're gonna talk about our sons because they're usually the ones that are taught, hey, you tough up, don't worry about that. You know, you can't be crying. So do you see that as a difference where, yeah, you can express your emotions in a healthy way, but all the whining, is there a thin line between that, or what do you?
It is what it is. Like the whining is, I'm doing this because mom will allow me to get the cookie. If I whine enough, mom is gonna let me do what
I got you.
dad doesn't want me to,
Have your way.
right?
I got you.
Everybody else is saying no, but I can go to mom and
I got you.
you know.
Okay.
And that's that young man who doesn't care. That's that disrespectful. That equates to a disrespectful, because you done already told him. You said no, and then he's not taking no, and that not taking no can lead into other things. No, I don't want to go.
Okay.
No, you going with me? No, I don't. Now he's going to put his hands on you. You see what I'm saying? So, no is no. And they have to understand that.
So we are talking about two different things. We talking about whining in a manipulative way,
Yeah.
and we're talking about crying when you really hurt or,
Oh, yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
I mean, we all do it, you
Okay.
know. My son would fall, "Are you a little boy or a football player?" "I'm a football player." "Hey, go and play." And it was okay.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But then you got the uncles, you can turn it off from you. You can, my phone. It's in my pocket.
But I wanna,
It's almost an hour.
My phone.
Okay, we can.
It's 50,
But-
yes.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
now I was just gonna say, like, I've seen that live and in color. A guy that I was, you know, involved with, he was spoiled. His mother spoiled him.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
He was spoiled, you know, his whole upbringing. And I remember,
No, it's in Willisville.
It's stopped now anyway. though.
right. I was gonna say, he was spoiled. He was, you know, his mother spoiled him. And even over the age of 30 years old, I was sitting in the car one time and he was on the phone with her. And he was upset about something. And the way she was talking to him, "It's all right, baby."
Oh.
And it's like he was in the wrong. Like, it's something that he could have changed or done for himself. But because I'm about to call my mama, I know she gonna, you know, feed into it. And I thought it was disturbing,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, Spike Lee said the biggest when you take emasculation,
From the mom.
it's from the mom.
Oh, yeah.
You know, moms would do that.
Yeah.
I mean, all that love and, you know, I understand, you know, you want that love from your baby boy that the father didn't give you. You know, you have to learn how to deal.
But then again,
Ooh.
no,
You know?
father was absent, father was abusive, so it's like it's all
Yeah.
tied together.
It
too.
really
Even
is.
though it's no excuse, but it makes a difference.
Okay, yeah. That's great.
Well, we are gonna do a part two today.
That's
we
great
definitely-
conversation.
And
Great
I
conversation.
wanna do the part two on the masculine energy.
Mhm.
But I also want us to even do a mother wound too.
Ooh,
Cause I think that, you know,
wow.
it's some, like you just talked about, the most emasculation comes from the mother.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we might have to
Mm.
dabble in
Yeah,
that
yeah.
subject too.
Yeah.
Feeling from TikTok, it was
That's
going
right, the
viral
ratings
about
are gonna go up.
relationship with mom and son and all that.
Mhm. The baby boy.
Yeah.
Alright,
Wow,
well.
that was great. That was good conversation.
5:15.
5:15.